Hello there. Let's talk about something that touches the lives of so many of us as we reach a certain stage in life: Medicare. Perhaps you're approaching that milestone birthday, 65, or maybe you've been navigating the world of Medicare for a few years now. Either way, have you ever found yourself sitting at your kitchen table, maybe with a cup of coffee, surrounded by a small mountain of mail? Brochures, letters, official-looking envelopes, all talking about Medicare options, deadlines, and choices. It can feel a bit like trying to assemble a complicated puzzle without the picture on the box, can't it? You see terms like Part A, Part B, Part C, Part D, deductibles, co-payments, networks, premiums, and it's perfectly understandable if your head starts to spin just a little. You're certainly not alone in feeling that way. Making decisions about your healthcare coverage is one of the most significant choices you'll make in your retirement years. It's about far more than just paperwork. It's about your health, your peace of mind, and your financial security. As we get older, our healthcare needs naturally tend to change. We might visit the doctor more often, require specialists, manage chronic conditions, or face unexpected health events. Having the right coverage in place isn't just a convenience, it's a vital safety net. It allows you to access the care you need, when you need it, without the constant worry of overwhelming medical bills looming over your head. That sense of security is invaluable, allowing you to focus on enjoying your life, spending time with loved ones, and pursuing your interests. The challenge often lies in understanding the fundamental choices available to you within the Medicare system. For decades, the primary option was what we now call Original Medicare. This is the traditional, government-administered health insurance program that many people associate with the name Medicare. It consists mainly of Part A, which typically covers hospital stays, skilled nursing facility care, hospice, and some home health care, and Part B, which covers doctor visits, outpatient care, medical supplies, and preventive services. It was designed to provide a foundational level of coverage, a promise made generations ago to help ensure older Americans had access to necessary medical care. And for many, it remains a reliable and trusted option. However, over the years, the healthcare landscape has evolved. Recognizing that people have different needs, preferences, and financial situations, another path emerged: Medicare Advantage plans, sometimes referred to as Part C. These plans are offered by private insurance companies that have been approved by Medicare. When you choose a Medicare Advantage plan, you still have Medicare, but you receive your Part A and Part B benefits through the private plan instead of directly from the government. Often, these plans bundle additional benefits not covered by Original Medicare, such as prescription drug coverage, Part D, vision, dental, and hearing services. They might look appealing with lower upfront premiums or extra perks. So, here lies the core question many people grapple with. Which path is right for me? Original Medicare, perhaps supplemented with a Medigap policy and a separate Part D plan, or a bundled Medicare Advantage plan offered by a private insurer. There isn't a single right answer that applies to everyone. The best choice for your neighbor, your friend, or even your spouse might not be the best choice for you. It depends entirely on your individual health needs, your budget, the doctors and hospitals you prefer to use, whether you travel frequently, and your tolerance for potential out-of-pocket costs versus monthly premiums. It's completely normal to feel a sense of weightiness when considering these options. You might be thinking, what if I choose wrong? What if my health changes dramatically next year? Will I be able to see the doctors I've trusted for years? What happens if I need care while traveling? These are valid and important questions. Many people worry about potential high costs associated with Original Medicare, If a serious illness strikes, leading them to look at the cost structures of Advantage plans. Others value the freedom offered by Original Medicare to see any doctor or specialist who accepts Medicare anywhere in the country without needing referrals, and they might be wary of the network restrictions common with Advantage plans. Perhaps you're managing multiple chronic conditions and need predictable costs, or maybe you're relatively healthy now but want flexibility for the future. The sheer volume of advertising for Medicare Advantage plans can also add to the confusion, sometimes making it hard to separate the marketing highlights from the important details found in the fine print. Our goal here, over the course of our discussion, is not to tell you which option to choose. Instead, we want to empower you with clear, unbiased information. We want to demystify the jargon, explain the key differences in how these two types of plans work, and help you understand the potential advantages and disadvantages of each path. Think of this as building your own personal roadmap to navigate the Medicare landscape confidently. In this first part, we've set the stage. We've acknowledged the complexity and the importance of this decision. We've touched upon the two main avenues: Original Medicare, the traditional government program, and Medicare Advantage, the private plan alternative. We understand that making this choice involves weighing various personal factors: health, finances, lifestyle, and preferences. Moving forward, in our next chapter, we will delve much deeper into the specifics. We'll meticulously compare Original Medicare and Medicare Advantage side by side across several critical areas. We'll look closely at costs, things like premiums, deductibles, co-payments, and maximum out-of-pocket limits. We'll examine coverage differences, what's typically included, what's not, and how extra benefits like dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drugs fit into the picture. We'll also explore the crucial aspect of provider choice and networks, understanding the freedom you have with Original Medicare versus the network structures inherent in most Advantage plans. We'll talk about how referrals work or don't work in each system. Then, in our final chapter, we'll bring everything together. We'll summarize the key distinctions we've uncovered and offer some broader perspective. We'll discuss how to think about these trade-offs in relation to your own life circumstances and priorities. Our aim is to leave you feeling more knowledgeable, more confident, and better equipped to have informed conversations with your family, trusted advisors, or insurance counselors as you make the Medicare coverage choice that best supports your health and well-being in the years ahead. Making an informed choice is the first step towards ensuring you have the healthcare security you deserve. Let's embark on that journey of understanding together. All right, let's roll up our sleeves now and get into the real nuts and bolts of comparing Original Medicare and Medicare Advantage. We've acknowledged that it's a significant choice, so understanding the practical differences is key. Think of it like comparing two different types of vehicles. Both might get you where you need to go, but they operate differently, have different features, and come with different costs and maintenance needs. We'll look at three main areas: the costs involved, the coverage you receive, and your freedom to choose doctors and hospitals. First, let's talk about costs. This is often top of mind for people, and understandably so. With Original Medicare, Part A and Part B, the cost structure is fairly standard across the country, although some costs can change slightly year to year. Most people don't pay a monthly premium for Part A, hospital insurance, if they or their spouse paid Medicare taxes while working for at least 10 years. However, there is a deductible for each hospital benefit period, a set amount you pay before Medicare starts paying its share. For Part B, medical insurance, almost everyone pays a standard monthly premium, which is set by the government each year and often deducted directly from Social Security benefits. There's also an annual deductible for Part B. After you meet that deductible, You typically pay 20% of the Medicare-approved amount for most doctor services, outpatient therapy, and durable medical equipment. This 20% is called coinsurance. Now here's a really crucial point about Original Medicare. There is no annual limit on your out-of-pocket costs for Part A and Part B services. That 20% coinsurance might seem manageable for routine visits, but if you face a serious illness requiring extensive treatment, multiple surgeries, or ongoing therapies, that 20% can add up very, very quickly, potentially leading to significant medical bills. This is the primary reason why many people with Original Medicare choose to purchase a separate Medicare supplement insurance policy, also known as Medigap. These policies are sold by private insurance companies and help fill the gaps in Original Medicare, like deductibles, co-payments, and co-insurance. Medigap plans have their own monthly premiums, which vary depending on the plan type, the company, and where you live. But they provide much greater cost predictability by covering most or all of that 20% co-insurance and sometimes the deductibles too. You also typically need to buy a separate Part D plan for prescription drug coverage if you have Original Medicare, and that comes with its own premium, deductible, and cost-sharing structure. So, with Original Medicare, your total monthly cost often involves the Part B premium, potentially a Medigap premium, and a Part D premium. Your out-of-pocket costs for services would then depend on your Medigap coverage level. Some plans cover nearly everything after premiums, others require some cost sharing. Let's contrast this with Medicare Advantage, Part C plans. These plans are offered by private companies, and their cost structures can vary significantly from plan to plan. One attractive feature you'll often see advertised is a $0 monthly premium. Many MA plans do offer this, which can be very appealing. However, it's vital to look beyond just the premium. While you won't pay the MA plan premium, you still have to pay your Part B premium to the government. Even if you choose an MA plan, you will typically pay co-payments or co-insurance for most services you receive. A set amount for a doctor visit, a different amount for a specialist visit, a certain percentage for diagnostic tests, a daily copay for hospital stays, and so on. These amounts differ widely between plans. Here's a key difference from Original Medicare. All Medicare Advantage plans must, by law, set an annual maximum out-of-pocket MOOP limit for the Part A and Part B services they cover. This limit can be quite high, potentially several $1,000s, or even over $10,000 for out-of-network services in some PPO plans, but it provides a safety net. Once you reach that MOOP limit by paying your deductibles, co-payments, and co-insurance for covered services, the plan pays 100% for those covered services for the rest of the year. This built-in financial protection is a major selling point for MA plans compared to Original Medicare alone, without Medigap. Many MA plans also include prescription drug coverage, known as MAPD plans, bundling your medical and drug benefits under one umbrella, often with one premium or a $0 premium beyond the Part B premium, and one MOOP limit that may or may not include drug costs. You need to check the specific plan details. So, with MA, your monthly cost might just be the Part B premium, if the plan premium is $0, but you need to budget for potential copays and co-insurance up to the plan's MOOP limit. Imagine two neighbors, Martha and George. Martha has Original Medicare with a comprehensive Medigap plan and a separate Part D plan. She pays significant monthly premiums for Part B, Medigap, and Part D. When she needed unexpected heart surgery, her Medigap plan covered almost all the costs after her small hospital deductible, leaving her with very little out-of-pocket expense beyond her premiums. George chose a $0 premium Medicare Advantage HMO plan. He only pays his Part B premium monthly. When he had a less serious, but still significant, knee replacement, he paid co-pays for the surgeon, the hospital stay, a set amount per day for the first few days, physical therapy visits, and medications. His total out-of-pocket costs were noticeable, perhaps a couple $1,000s, but he knew they wouldn't exceed his plan's MOOP limit of, say, $6,700. Both found paths that worked for their situation, but the cost experience was different. Martha paid more upfront in premiums for near-total cost protection, while George paid less upfront but faced potentially higher costs per service until hitting his MOOP. Next, let's consider coverage. Original Medicare covers services and supplies deemed medically necessary to treat your health condition. This includes Part A, hospital stays, skilled nursing care after a qualifying hospital stay, hospice, some home health, and Part B, doctor visits, outpatient care, preventive services like flu shots and cancer screenings, durable medical equipment like walkers or oxygen. It's comprehensive for major medical needs. However, Original Medicare generally does not cover routine dental care, like cleanings, fillings, dentures, routine vision care like eye exams for glasses or contacts, or hearing aids. As mentioned, it also doesn't include prescription drug coverage, Part D. You need a separate plan for that. Medicare Advantage plans, on the other hand, must cover all the services that Original Medicare covers. They cannot offer less coverage for Part A and Part B services than the traditional program. Where they differ is that they often bundle in extra benefits not covered by Original Medicare. It's very common for MA plans to include prescription drug coverage, Part D, routine dental care, often with limitations on coverage amounts or specific covered services, routine vision care, exams, allowances for glasses, contacts, and hearing aid benefits. Many also offer fitness program memberships, like Silver Sneakers, allowances for over-the-counter health items, transportation to medical appointments, or even meal delivery after a hospital stay. These extra benefits can be quite valuable and are a major reason people choose MA plans. However, it's essential to look closely at the details of these extra benefits. The dental coverage might only cover preventive services or have a low annual dollar limit for more extensive work like crowns or root canals. Vision benefits might cover an exam but only provide a small allowance towards glasses. Prescription drug coverage within an MA plan will have its own formulary, list of covered drugs, and cost-sharing tiers, just like a standalone Part D plan. So, while the convenience of having everything bundled is appealing, you need to ensure the specifics of the coverage meet your anticipated needs. For instance, someone needing extensive dental work might find the MA plan's benefit insufficient, whereas someone primarily wanting coverage for routine checkups might find it perfectly adequate. Think about Sarah, who primarily wanted reliable hospital and doctor coverage and didn't mind managing separate policies. She opted for Original Medicare, a Medigap Plan G, which covers nearly all cost sharing after the Part B deductible, and a standalone Part D plan that specifically covered her expensive medications well. She pays higher premiums but has predictable costs and broad drug coverage. Compare her to David, who was attracted to an MA plan's $0 premium and included dental and vision benefits. He rarely uses healthcare services beyond checkups and gets his teeth cleaned twice a year using the plan benefit. He appreciates the simplicity of one card and lower upfront costs, accepting that if a major health issue arises, he'll pay co-pays up to his MOOP limit, and his choice of dentist is limited to those in the plan's network. This brings us neatly to our third major comparison point: provider choice and networks. This is perhaps one of the most significant distinctions between the two paths. With Original Medicare, you generally have the freedom to go to any doctor, specialist, or hospital in the United States that accepts Medicare patients. There are hundreds of thousands of providers nationwide who accept Medicare. You typically do not need a referral from a primary care physician to see a specialist. If you want to see a cardiologist or a dermatologist, you simply make an appointment with one who accepts Medicare. This freedom and flexibility are highly valued by many people, especially those who travel frequently within the U.S., like snowbirds spending winters in warmer climates, or those who want access to specific renowned specialists or medical centers, regardless of location. If a provider accepts Medicare, you can generally see them. Medicare Advantage plans, however, usually operate with provider networks. The two most common types are health maintenance organizations, HMOs, and preferred provider organizations, PPOs. HMO plans typically require you to choose a primary care physician, PCP, within the plan's network. Your PCP coordinates your care, and you generally need a referral from them to see specialists within the network. Except for emergencies, urgent care, or out-of-area renal dialysis, there is usually no coverage if you see a provider outside the plan's network. HMOs often have lower premiums and sometimes lower copays than PPOs, but they offer the least flexibility in choosing providers. PPO plans offer more flexibility. You don't usually need to choose a PCP, and you generally don't need referrals to see specialists. You have a network of preferred providers, and seeing them results in lower co-payments and co-insurance. You can typically go outside the network to see other providers, but you will pay significantly more for those services. Your maximum out-of-pocket limit is also often much higher for out-of-network care compared to in-network care. There are other less common types of MA plans too, like private fee-for-service, PFFS plans, or special needs plans, SNPs, designed for specific groups. The crucial takeaway is that with most MA plans, you need to be mindful of the network. Before enrolling, it's essential to check if your current doctors, preferred hospitals, and any specialists you rely on are part of the plan's network. If you travel often, you'll need to understand the plan's rules for out-of-network or out-of-area coverage, which can be limited primarily to emergencies. Consider Robert, who spends 6 months a year in Florida and 6 months in New York. Original Medicare works well for him because he can see Medicare-accepting doctors in both locations without worrying about networks or referrals. His neighbor, Linda, has lived in the same town her whole life and has several chronic conditions managed by local specialists she likes. She found an MA PPO plan where all her current doctors were in-network. She appreciates the lower copays for seeing them and the plan's MOOP limit, accepting the slightly higher cost she might incur if she ever chose to see an out-of-network provider. So, as you can see, there are distinct trade-offs. Original Medicare offers unparalleled freedom in choosing providers nationwide, but leaves you exposed to potentially high out-of-pocket costs unless paired with Medigap, and requires separate purchases for drug coverage and supplemental benefits. Medicare Advantage often provides lower upfront costs, bundled benefits including drugs, dental, and vision, and a crucial out-of-pocket maximum, but generally requires you to use a network of providers and may involve referrals, limiting your flexibility. Understanding these fundamental differences in costs, coverage, and provider access is the cornerstone of making an informed decision that aligns with your personal healthcare needs and lifestyle. So, we've journeyed together through the landscape of Medicare, exploring those two primary pathways, Original Medicare and Medicare Advantage. We've looked under the hood, examined the moving parts, and hopefully shed some light on what can often feel like a rather confusing crossroads. It's a lot to take in, I know, But just taking the time to understand these differences is a truly significant step towards making a choice that feels right for you, bringing you that invaluable peace of mind about your health care. Let's take a moment now to gently gather the threads of our conversation and summarize the key distinctions we've uncovered. Think of it as placing the main puzzle pieces side by side. On one hand, we have Original Medicare, the traditional program administered directly by the federal government. We talked about its core components. Part A, primarily for hospital-related care, which most people receive premium-free, though it does come with a deductible per benefit period. And Part B, covering your doctor visits, outpatient services, and medical equipment, which involves a monthly premium, an annual deductible, and then, importantly, that 20% coinsurance you typically pay for services after meeting the deductible. The critical point we emphasized about Original Medicare's cost structure is the absence of an annual cap on your out-of-pocket spending. That 20% coinsurance, while manageable for routine care, could become substantial in the face of serious or prolonged illness. This potential financial exposure is precisely why many individuals pair Original Medicare with a Medicare Supplement Insurance Plan, Medigap. These separate, private policies step in to cover some or all of that coinsurance and potentially the deductibles, offering significant cost predictability in exchange for an additional monthly premium. And remember, Original Medicare doesn't inherently include prescription drug coverage. You'll need a separate Part D plan for that, or routine dental, vision, or hearing benefits. But its crowning advantage, the one many people cherish, is the unparalleled freedom and flexibility in choosing your healthcare providers. With Original Medicare, you can generally see any doctor or visit any hospital in the country that accepts Medicare patients, usually without needing a referral to see specialists. This nationwide access is a powerful draw for those who value choice above all else or who travel frequently. On the other hand, we explored Medicare Advantage Part C plans. These are offered by private insurance companies that contract with Medicare to provide your Part A and Part B benefits. A key appeal often highlighted is the potential for low or even $0 monthly premiums, though you must continue paying your Part B premium to the government. Instead of the 20% coinsurance found in Original Medicare, MA plans typically use a system of co-payments, fixed dollar amounts, or coinsurance percentages for specific services, a set fee for a doctor visit, another for a specialist, perhaps a daily charge for a hospital stay. While these per-service costs can add up, every Medicare Advantage plan includes a vital safeguard, an annual maximum out-of-pocket MOOP limit for your Part A and Part B services. Once your spending on deductibles, co-pays, and coinsurance reaches this limit within the plan year, the plan covers 100% of those approved costs thereafter. This provides a crucial financial safety net against catastrophic expenses. Another major attraction of MA plans is their tendency to bundle additional benefits beyond what Original Medicare covers. Most include prescription drug coverage, MAPD plans, and many offer routine dental, vision, and hearing benefits, as well as perks like gym memberships or transportation assistance, all often under a single plan structure. However, the trade-off for these features usually comes in the form of provider networks. Most MA plans are HMOs or PPOs. HMOs typically require you to use doctors and hospitals within their network, except for emergencies, and often necessitate referrals from a primary care physician to see specialists. PPOs offer more flexibility, allowing you to go out of network, but at a significantly higher cost, and they still have a network of preferred providers where your costs will be lower. This means your choice of doctors and hospitals may be more limited compared to Original Medicare, requiring you to check if your preferred providers are included. Having laid out these differences in costs, in coverage scope, and in provider access, it becomes clearer that there truly is no single best answer. The decision between Original Medicare, perhaps with Medigap and Part D, and Medicare Advantage hinges entirely on your unique circumstances, priorities, and preferences. It's a deeply personal calculation. Are you someone who prioritizes maximum freedom in choosing your doctors and hospitals, perhaps because you have long-standing relationships with specific specialists or you travel extensively? If so, the flexibility of Original Medicare, likely paired with a Medigap plan for cost protection, might feel like the most comfortable fit, even with potentially higher overall monthly premiums. Or perhaps your main concern is keeping monthly premiums as low as possible while still having a safety net against catastrophic costs? Maybe you appreciate the convenience of having medical and drug coverage, plus potentially dental and vision benefits, bundled into one plan. If you're comfortable using providers within a network and your preferred doctors are included, then a Medicare Advantage plan, particularly one with a low or $0 premium and a clearly defined MOOP, could be very appealing. Consider your health status. If you have complex or chronic conditions requiring frequent specialist visits, the potential hassle of referrals in some HMOs, or the importance of ensuring all your specialists are in-network or MA plans needs careful consideration. Conversely, the potentially high, uncapped 20% coinsurance in Original Medicare without Medigap might be a significant worry. If you are relatively healthy now, your calculation might lean more towards lower premiums or bundled preventive benefits, while still considering how the plan would perform if your health needs change unexpectedly. Think about your budget. Can you comfortably afford the combined monthly premiums of Original Medicare, Part B, a Medigap plan, and a Part D plan, in exchange for potentially very low out-of-pocket costs when you need care? Or does your budget favor lower monthly premiums, accepting that you might pay more in copays and coinsurance when you access services up to the plan's annual limit? It's also important to adopt a long-term perspective. Your health needs, financial situation, and even where you live might change over time. The good news is that your initial Medicare choice isn't necessarily set in stone forever. Each year, during the Medicare open enrollment period, typically October 15th to December 7th, you have the opportunity to review your coverage and make changes if your current plan is no longer the best fit. You can switch between Original Medicare and Medicare Advantage, change MA plans, or add or change Part D coverage. Knowing that you can reassess annually can take some pressure off the initial decision. However, be aware that switching from Medicare Advantage back to Original Medicare and getting a Medigap policy later on can sometimes be more difficult or expensive, depending on your health and state regulations, especially outside your initial enrollment period or specific guaranteed issue rights situations. This adds another layer to consider. Ultimately, navigating this choice is an act of empowerment. It represents a shift from simply receiving healthcare information to actively engaging with it, understanding your options, and making a conscious decision that aligns with your life. It might feel daunting, like learning a new language at first, but you've already taken the most important step by seeking to understand. You are not powerless in this process. You have the ability to weigh the pros and cons, to consider what matters most to you, be it cost, coverage, convenience, or choice, and select the path that best supports your health and well-being. Please remember, you don't have to make this decision in isolation. There are reliable resources available to help you. Every state has a State Health Insurance Assistance Program, SHIP, offering free, unbiased counseling on Medicare options. You can find your local SHIP contact information on the official Medicare website, medicare.gov, which itself is a vast source of information. You might also consult with a trusted, licensed insurance agent who specializes in Medicare products. Just be sure they explain options from various companies and both types of coverage, original Medicare path versus MA path, clearly. Discussing your thoughts and concerns with family members or friends who have gone through this process can also be helpful, though remember their ideal choice might differ from yours. Making an informed choice about your Medicare coverage is fundamentally about investing in your future health and security. It's about ensuring you have access to the care you need, when you need it, in a way that fits your life and budget. By understanding the core differences between original Medicare and Medicare Advantage, the costs involved, the benefits offered, and the way you access care, you equip yourself to choose confidently. This knowledge transforms potential anxiety into proactive planning, allowing you to move forward with greater assurance, ready to embrace the years ahead with one less major worry on your mind. Your health is your most valuable asset. Choosing the right Medicare coverage is a vital way to protect it. Trust yourself to weigh the options thoughtfully, seek help when needed, and make the decision that best serves you. That is the most important outcome, finding the path that gives you security and allows you to focus on living your life to the fullest.